Hello guys. Just before we started, I'd like to hear the confirmation, like that you can see my screen and can hear my voice. You can just like drop a quick message in GoToMeeting chat box. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Uh, Before we start, I want to say that it's nice to meet you all here. And we are on the Starwind tap room. Our theme is vCenter HA. What features this vCenter can provide us with, and we're gonna see it during our demo in our tap room. And also you can see my face here. I'm smiling. I'm not sure why I'm so smiley here, but it's me. And please note that any of the questions asked will be covered by us in our next meetings. And in the end of this top room, we're gonna see the question and answer block, where I will be more than happy to answer on all your questions. And on this tap room, we will focus on VMware vCenter HA feature and address all the technical aspects of it. Also, we're gonna learn more about embedded PCA and external PCA approach, performance of vCenter HA failover, RTO, and other equal important stuff. So our quick overview of today's topics. First, gonna be vCenter HA architecture. Then I'll show some configuration approaches. The first step is live demo by itself, and as I mentioned already, question and answer session in the end. And vCenter architecture. Over here you can see 3 node setup, the active node, the passive node, and witness node. As you may know, like active node, this is the production VM. The active node is serving admin's requests and provides the general services and operations within the vSphere environment. The passive node, this is an exact copy of the active node, which constantly receives the updates from the active node. It has obviously the same size as the active node. And quorum, we call it witness. This is the third node, serves to solve split brain scenarios and solves any other miscommunication between nodes. And like this is really easy architecture scenario, like 3 entities, the witness node, and active passive. And on the top you can see the management. Also I want to mention that we have two networks here. First I'll call it Ethernet 1. It's the private network between the nodes. And the second, the Ethernet 0, it sends the management network on the top to the clients. And this is pretty all about Starwind HA architecture. It's easy, and we're gonna just jump in it on the live demo. So I'm gonna go forward, and here are 2 approaches how we can use a vCenter or configure the vCenter. And first is embedded, and second is external. So the first bring to us the sufficient for it's sufficient for most environments because it's do not require the big and large environments. It's obviously easy to maintain and deploy, and it supports up to 8 vCenter servers. So this is the limitation in the vCenter servers by VMs. And for larger customers within numerous of vCenter servers, we definitely recommend external PCAC configuration. It also supports the Windows and the appliance, and the performance of our vCenter server, it depends on definitely on few things, like how big is your environment, how many vCenters you have on your host, and before I'm gonna go further and show you the performance of vSphere HA failover or recovery time objective, I wanna start our presentation of vCenter HA like basically, and I already pre-configured the vCenter HA configuration, and as you may see over here we have 3 hosts. This is physical EA6i 6 and 5 hosts, and we deploy vCenter HA feature here. So as we go further to vCenter HA settings, we can see the active, passive, and witness node. And as I made some tests that show up that vCenter HA works not immediately, so it wouldn't allow you to lose the vCenter server and immediately vCenter gonna jump to the second server that is healthy. It takes like from let it be 5 minutes to 6, maybe 10, and I want to show you the configuration steps, basically what we need to create the vCenter HA. So first step is basically creating the cluster with 3 hosts. So it must be like 3 hosts. It's limitation, not limitation, but requirement of VMware. And basically, when you're gonna create vCenter HA, it's gonna automatically create the vCenter server passive node or peer and vCenter server appliance. It shows here as a VM as vCenter server appliance. And the configuration steps are really easy, and all I can do it right now is just add it, and I'll show you the possibility to call the vCenter HA IP address. I call it like 1, 2, and 3, and here you may see that our like static IP address on the server is 167. It's our vCenter, and management network will be the same for all 3 servers. And in general, vCenter server settings is really like same and general settings. So it's like 50 max connections, user directory, it's 60 seconds timeout. There are no additional configuration over this, like over here, like any additional configuration. And all that will be done, it's from vCenter HA. If we're gonna create additional server, we can add it and add it to the maintenance mode and add additional server. So it's really easy from this standpoint, from like scaling or adding. And what I want to show you next, I want to disconnect the first host, like shut down it or just unplug the power supply for it, and we will see how migration process will be, like what time it will require. So I'll ask one of my colleagues that he's ready to turn server off. So give me a second. I'll just write him, and he's in the server room already. He's just gonna turn off the first host, and yep, he mailed that he turned off the first host. So basically, the vCenter, like from a first host, might disappear right now, and will be in a migrating mode, or I can call it like failover mode. Or it just gonna write to us that it's failovering, but we can't have access to the vCenter console or vCenter like any features. And before our vCenter will come up, it will take like from, as I mentioned, from 5 to 10 minutes. It will be automatically, just like vCenter will do it by itself with no manual clicking from my side. And I'll just want to continue and elaborate a bit more on the performance of vSphere HA. Like it might be a bit obvious that it's not instant failover, and the configuration actually is like we can't create the instant failover for vCenter. There are like no possibility like this. Rather, we're gonna increase the amount of hosts, or we can create few vCenters. It still will be less than 4 minutes through the UE clients, or less than 2 minutes through the API clients. And I want to elaborate a bit more on vSphere HA overhead. So when it's enabled, there is no like significant impact for vCenter server under typical load conditions. We observed a noticeable but small impact of VHCA when the vCenter server was under extreme load. However, it's unlikely for customers to generate that much load on the vCenter server for extended time periods. So like basically there might be the chance that you can do it, but in real production scenario, it's might be not like so crucial. And as I mentioned, the performance of the like migration or failover, because I imagine that failover might be a bit faster, just like from what I see, from what I imagine before I start testing this feature like vCenter HA. I was under illusion that like vCenter will migrate immediately. I understood that it might be some downtime, but my expectation was that it will migrate a bit faster. However, it's nice to know that your vCenter can migrate by itself. Maybe it's too much like additional, I can't call it waste, because you simply can create vCenter VMs on your free ESXi production hosts. So there are like no requirements to create the vCenter VMs on like standalone hosts. So it either can be your production or home lab. So your vCenters will be up and running with no like manual clicking. So just give me a second, I'll update. Okay, and I guess, yeah, we can see this like great HTML message that failover in the progress right now, and that's mean like we can understood that our vCenter is failovering, but unfortunately we can't connect to it. So I can call this feature like great if you're looking to failover your vCenter just like in 5 minutes. But from my experience, the big companies, they will understood that your vCenter is down, and like if it's not like deep night and there are just one sysadmin in the office, obviously in that scenario, failover is really great idea. But if it's like busy day, like 5 p.m., all sneaking from the office, then failover is not really necessary, because admin just can see that vSphere is down, like vCenter vSphere is down, and vSphere is like vCenter can be powered up like from 10 minutes to 15, I believe. Depends on workload, obviously, but you can simply power it on, VM will spin up, and without failover, you will see your vCenter up and running in 10 minutes. Obviously, it will be with manual, like manual help, but without failover. So I can call this feature okay, but not like must-have feature. And I guess failover in the progress, and it will take like 2 more minutes. So I'll go back a bit and want to talk about the network connection a bit in vCenter, because it's like necessary configuration, and this is the only part that I was struggling in like a bit, but still. And as you may know, we need like 2 connections. One will be public, one will be private. And on the private network, we're gonna assign heartbeat, synchronization, and file replication features. And as you may know, we can we can like provide 2 options from synchronization standpoint. So synchronous database replication and asynchronous file replication. And obviously vCenter just when migrating, he can use the same database that was replicated already. So there are like no need to synchronize the database while it's migrating. And I guess I can answer a few questions when our vSphere client is initializing. So first question, so how many network connections you need to create vCenter HA? Okay, thanks for the question. And like as I mentioned, if you want to create it on a physical level, it's not like the best idea to create the vCenter servers just like to buy the host and create only vCenter server there. So I assume that you have already, just give me a second, I'm not really good in multitask, so I'll just like log in here and then we'll continue to answer your question. Okay, perfect. So back to the chase. And on the physical level, it will just need like 3 NICs that free. On a virtual level, first of all, you create 2 networks in ESXi 6 and 5 hosts, and then you use one more additional network in vCenter HA, and only for vCenter HA purposes. Like one will be connected to vCenter. I guess I answered your question. If not, you can just like ping me and ask like maybe some additional info on that network part, and I'll go to the second question. Can it be configured in a way that we can lose 2 nodes and stay from the first node? Okay, as I mentioned, the vCenter server appliance like vCenter HA requires 3 nodes, and one is act as witness node. As long as we have configuration or architecture, and it's not only about vCenter, it's like from all configuration, like if we have 2 boxes and witness box, we can't achieve FTT2. Like we can't tolerate to lose 2 hosts, because obviously we need this witness to be up and running all the time to be sure what host is up, just like to communicate between hosts. And I'll stop like your questions for a while, and I want to show you actually what we can see over here. And let's proceed to vCenter HA settings. And it must be like one host is down. Yeah. So we have first host down. It reports that it's become passive host and it's down. The second host become active one. It's our second host and it's pick up the vCenter. And the witness is obviously up, and witness never will pick up the host that down, because if you will lose second host, uh, obviously we're going to lose a vCenter, because as I mentioned there are FTT only one. So before we proceed to the production, for instance, if it will be production, we definitely need to power up first host, wait till the vCenter gonna synchronize, then we, just to be sure that we do not miss nothing, we just gonna initiate a failover. If that will be successfully, your vCenter is ready to be under pressure one more time. And I guess I'll just skip all that presentation and I'll mark the question time here. And I'll have just one question, and this question is about architecture. Can we scale up to, for instance, 10 nodes? Yeah, you can definitely scale up to 10 nodes. There are like no limitation from that side, from VMware ESXi, but honestly I don't see any realistic need to create 10 vCenter VMs and create so much high availability for vCenter, because it's working great with free nodes. So yeah, there are possibility to increase the whole cluster and to create the additional pairs of a vCenter for your hosts. But if you are looking for this, yeah, it's obviously doable, but I don't see like any realistic needs to do it. And as far as I can see, there are all questions for today. And thanks for your time, gentlemen. That was nice to meet you virtually. And thanks for your time, and have a great Friday and then weekends. Bye.